please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Finally, Sonal Eros.
Well, weak set of numbers. The stock rallied in last two trading sessions, but that didn't show in the numbers. The revenue, EBITDA, both were down, but the margins again expanded because of the cost controls. But the profitability were hit again because the finance cost doubled in from the last quarter, and that's why I expect the stock to be in red today.
Okay, this is really too many numbers to remember, and over on top of that, Ronit has another list of good and bad numbers.
So a lot of numbers coming in post-market, especially the interesting mid-cap. So I'll start with Cox and Kings. You know, revenue was down, but the EBITDA was up 85% at 347 crores, as well as the profit more than doubled to 200 crores. Moving on to Panacea Biotech, you know, good said the stock is up 60% in the last 3 months, and the numbers didn't disappoint. Revenue up 45%, as well as the losses reduced to 5 crores versus 47 crore year on year. Moving on to Waterbase, the shrimp feed player, revenue was up 21%, as well as the margins expanded by 910 basis points. And finally, Shreyas Shipping, good set again, revenues up 34%, as well as the profit more than almost 10 times up to 19 crores. But moving on, the weak set, Shakti Pumps, you know, revenue was down, as well as the profit was down 35% at 3 crores. Indocount, another weak set for the company, you know, revenue is down 15%, as well as the margins contract 580 basis points, largely due to higher raw material prices. And finally, MTNL, you know, the best numbers coming in, actually the weakest numbers, but revenue was down 12%. But the interesting part is the employee cost was 1,200 crores, which is almost equal to the revenue itself. So you can expect the stock to be in the red today.
I was wondering where does that best come from for MTNL. Now I figure. All right, Ronit, thanks very much for that. Well, let's quickly recap the list of the morning. It's a long one. Stocks expected to gain are Bank of Baroda, M&M, Ujjivan, Jet Airways, Indiabulls Housing, JP Associates, Fortis Health, Gale, NBCC, SEAT, JK Tyre, Infibeam, Cox & Kings, Panacea Biotech and Waterbase. Stocks that could see some pressure this morning include Sun Pharma, Lupin, Vedanta, Nalco, Indiabulls Real Estate, Reliance Communications, State Bank of India, Corporation Bank, MRPL, Eros, Shakti Pumps, Indocount and MTNL.
Okay, Indiabulls Housing Finance, of course, is a stock that's in focus. Varinder has been talking about it. They have sold about 1/3 of stake in OakNorth for 770 crores and still retain 2/3, and they have recovered their entire investment. Gagan Banga now joins us, VC and MD of Indiabulls Housing Finance. Gagan, good morning. You know, why did you sell this 1/3 stake? I mean, you made a lot of money, of course, I can understand, but what explained selling this 1/3 stake at this point?
So we had originally invested $100 million at an enterprise value of OakNorth Bank at $250. Last month, the bank had done a capital raise of approximately $140 million US at $1.2 billion. So we thought that it's a good opportunity for us to bring back our capital and yet remain the single largest shareholder in the bank. What this essentially allows us to do is use this capital, which had been put into the bank, to come back and pursue the mortgage opportunity in India, where we ourselves are seeing a tremendous growth. Our book has been growing at about 30%. At the same point in time, the other objective that we had in terms of trying to establish credentials and build a franchise which will eventually facilitate our liability piece, that investment will continue to work for us on the front as well. So it's a win-win for the stakeholders of Indiabulls. We get our money back. We continue to use that money for pursuing the mortgage opportunity. Our loan book this year will grow by 25-30,000 crores, and this will clearly help us in financing all of that.
When are you likely to book the remaining, Gagan?
Lata, I think that would be a more long-term investment. We would want to continue to remain a large shareholder. So at least till the IPO or beyond, we would continue to hold that 20%.
But how does that benefit Indiabulls shareholders? Do you get a dividend or is it just that capital appreciation they will have to wait for?
One, there is a capital appreciation, plus being the controlling shareholder of a bank which is doing quite well. The bank would go past $1 billion, $1 billion in deposits by the end of this year. All of that clearly has a very positive impact. And when we had made that investment at that time itself, we had outlined that this was beyond just a pure financial investment. This had far greater strategic objectives for the organization. I think the financial objectives have been partly realized. The strategic objectives will get realized over a couple of years.
So, Gagan, quick question then, was OakNorth a one-off, or will you keep looking for these kind of deals to create additional value? What's the strategy?
No, so OakNorth was clearly a one-off. What we really want to do is ensure that all capital of the company is consolidated for pursuing the mortgage opportunity. We do not intend to invest in anything which is outside of the mortgage opportunity within India. So clearly, this move also of bringing back the capital that we had deployed is to consolidate the capital position, which can then pursue the mortgage opportunities. Clearly, there is nothing else, and Indiabulls Housing balance sheet is not going to look at doing anything else.
Okay, that's, I'm sure, a welcome news for your investors. Thank you very much, Gagan Banga, for joining us with those details. All right, so they are not trying to be a private equity investor as well. They will be only a mortgage company.
Sudarshan Sukhani, Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Kaba now join us to take us through what looks like another volatile session. Good morning, gentlemen. Sudarshan, what's the trade today? It's clearly a sell-on rally market for last 5 or 6 days now. Do you reverse that, or I mean, at the first gap down, what should be the trade?
Yeah, good morning, Anuj. It has been a sell-on rallies market. We've had 6 lower lows, one after the other, back to back. And for a correction, 6 lower lows is quite a lot. But today, I think we should be looking at the other side of the trade. There are 3 reasons why we want to be buyers today. First is 10,150 is another support level for the Nifty. Now, 250 did not hold, and I cannot say 150 will hold, but the support exists. And we've had 6 down days. Yesterday, the S&P 500 in the USA had an interesting pattern. It went lower, then by the time it closed, it bounced back and regained all its losses. It closed almost unchanged. So there is support coming in there. It is not breaking down. So while Asian markets are a little weak, I think the early morning weakness should really be a chance to go long in the Nifty as well as in the Nifty Bank. This is a day trade. I'm not even sure how this will work out. If it works out, we will carry the positions on. If it doesn't, there are tight stops, 30 points for the Nifty, 80 for the Nifty Bank. But the buying should be done when any early morning decline stops, and that should pause somewhere around 10150 for the Nifty.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Good morning, Sudarshan. Well, actually, it's good to hear what you're saying, because there are even fundamental positive news in global markets, like, for instance, the Japanese GDP data. So this relentless fall in risk assets is perhaps a little bewildering, and it could stop. But you gave us one level at which you think the buy might emerge. Is there a stop loss for your trade?
The stop loss is wherever the trader is buying, and that level, I mean, you would be buying at different levels. Take a 30-point stop loss. Don't take more than that risk. 30 points below 10150 signifies a breakdown of the Nifty again. Okay. Then we step aside.
Fair enough. And for the Nifty Bank, Sudarshan?
Well, the Nifty Bank has a stop somewhere around, the support is 25,200. Okay. I think the Nifty Bank has been outperforming, and that outperformance should continue. The same process, if the Nifty Bank gaps down, pauses and stops around these zones, then it's a buying opportunity. Given a choice, the Nifty Bank is a better opportunity to go long.
Okay. That news, by the way, on Camlin Fine looks quite interesting. We'll get you some more details. An agreement with Lockheed Martin. It's a big marquee name. But anyway, Mitesh, good morning. So Sudarshan's being a braveheart. He's willing to go against the tide and look at maybe just an intraday buying opportunity. What about you? What's your reading?
Good morning, Survey. I am looking at a test of around 10,120, 100. I think ever since that 250 level broke down, I've been looking at a test of around 10,100. But yeah, I think, we are due for a reversal or some kind of a short covering led pullback. I think I've been highlighting this, that this is the 7th straight closing low which we have got. And after 7-8 days of decline, typically we do see some kind of short covering coming. The intraday indicators are also now oversold. So maybe it could happen today or maybe tomorrow. But I think yes, now shorting aggressively will not be a very good idea. I think wait for pullbacks and sell on intraday rallies. I still expect this 10,250 level which was earlier the support, now will act as some kind of supply point. So closer to that, I think, if it happens today, good. Otherwise, it will most likely happen tomorrow or day after. And then I think, anything close to about 10,240, 230 would be ideal levels to take some short positions in the indices.
Okay. Mitesh, good morning. And what about the Bank Nifty? That's been a relative outperformer, but yesterday even that had a fall.
Very much, Anuj. I think the Bank Nifty had a big breakout above this 25, 100, 150 zone with the recapitalization announcement, and that gap isn't yet filled. So I think that remains an important support. I do expect, unless until that level is broken, I think the Bank Nifty will just chop around and not fall, but be in range of about 25, 100 to about 25, 550, 600 or thereabouts.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that. Let's get to Prakash Gaba. Prakash?
Well, Nifty is at a place where it can bounce back if it has to. Yesterday we had a target of 10,184. It's just close there. The place is just right, but I don't see any strength as yet. If the ideal thing to do is to buy only above yesterday's high, and that is 10,225. If that happens, go out and buy for next couple of days. Until that happens, we must assume it's down. Where does it go down from here? If it breaks today's low, if it opens higher and breaks today's low, then it's sliding down to levels close to 10,089. And again, even possible 9994. So far, there is no sign of strength. But then this is only a forecast. Trade what you see, not what you think. Trade the markets, not the forecast. So it depends how it opens. That's very important.
Okay. Let's discuss individual stocks then. Sudarshan, what stocks are you trading?
Oh, it's a long list of short sales in NBFCs. And that includes one PSU bank, although I understand that you've been talking about Bank of Baroda and how it could open better, and it could. But I have PNB as a short sell. That stock is now at the lowest point since that big rally started. There are any number of PSU banks which are giving sense of further weakness. So PNB is a short, and two NBFCs are relatively easy shorts. Canfin Homes, where a 30% decline has already happened, even as we were looking at it as strength, and that should continue. And Capital First, where a fairly bearish pattern is on the verge of being completed. So NBFCs, I have been saying, are in a short-term or intermediate downtrend, and that pattern continues generally for that sector. There are two buying opportunities. One is Hero MotoCorp. Hero Moto had a very nice, attractive rally yesterday. So perhaps that decline is now coming to an end. And finally, a positional trade and a day trade and a swing trade in Ajanta Pharma. A very attractive base is being built. It is part of the pharma pack, which is now coming out of that bear market. Consider buying it, not just for today, for a longer term.
Sudarshan, you are a buyer in the Nifty at 10,150. Then there should be some long in the Nifty stock as well, isn't it? What will take the Nifty higher?
Well, I don't know. I wish I did, but then I would have put them. But Reliance is one stock, and the Nifty private sector banks. These are the two groups that I think will take the Nifty higher to start with.
Fair.
If it does start going higher, then everything adds up.
Okay. Well, there is, of course, Indiabulls Housing, which has a lot of good news coming in. Mitesh, what would you trade?
So I also have a mix of buy and sells and 3 sells and 2 buys. HDFC Bank is a conditional sell, so I think if it breaks the pivot support of 1795.92, I would want to sell. So the trigger should be around 1790. Break that and you can sell with a stop at 1806 for targets of 1755. Marico was a sell yesterday, but even today I think, given the fact that the pattern still suggests more downsides, it can be shorted. Now with a stop at 305 for targets of 285. 2 buy calls, I have a buy on V-Guard with a stop at 220 for targets of 250. And Voltas, I would want to buy if the stock opens about 1% lower in the early morning weakness, so around 595, buy with a stop at 580 for targets of 625. And Century also looks corrective, so that's a sell call. Sell with a stop at 1316 for targets of around 1250.
All right, thanks for that, Mitesh. We'll come to Prakash's stocks in a minute. We have a very important guest joining us. The Bharat 22 ETF, exchange traded fund, has received subscriptions worth 12,000 crore rupees versus an asking number of just 2,000 crore worth of shares on offer. Let me also welcome Mr. S.P. Tulsian of sptulsian.com. Good morning, sir. Well, first up, Sun Pharma. Is that likely to be the stock of the morning? Did the results impress you?
The results are seen better. I won't say that has really impressed, but they're looking to the results having declared so far, whether Cadila or Oro Pharma. The market is not seem to be in mood to buy the pharma stocks. And same thing may happen with Sun Pharma. You have just seen a small tip of the iceberg, where the margins have seen improved, maybe touching to 20% per kind of things. But I don't think that that's really the respite for the stock to really go move up from here, looking to the market sentiments, which is not existing for the pharma stocks.
Oh yes, that point is taken, and then I guess there's bad news from Lupin. So we have to take an important commercial break before the 9 a.m. stocks trading. They're coming back in a jiffy.